Welcome back to another episode of the Moniece Hour. I'm your host, Moniece, a queer mom, an artist, and someone navigating life while working full-time in tech. This is a space where we keep it real, share stories, and find inspiration together. So, if you're here for honest talk, motivation, and a bit of company on this journey that we call life, then you're in the right place. So, let's get into it. Hey guys, I missed you guys so much last week. I know I did not release an episode last week. Please forgive me. I've been dealing with my mental health, but also just studying and just trying to get my life together. I am currently getting my master's degree and I am studying for the CompTIA CISA Plus exam. And I don't know why, but it's just been really hard for me to really get in the groove of things. I've just been dealing with a lot mentally. So I kind of checked out for a little bit, but I'm back. And I'm so excited to discuss today's topic and to really dive deep into everything, really. This episode, we're going to be talking about forgiveness and boundaries. I think that many times people believe that forgiving someone also means accepting bad behavior and disrespect. Forgiveness is letting go, but at what expense? Is it your peace? Is it your needs? So in this episode, we're going to be talking about forgiveness and boundaries because you can forgive someone, but you also need to establish clear boundaries so that one, people aren't okay with continuing to disrespect you or do things to you that you don't like, but also knowing that it's okay to forgive someone and also leave them where they're at. And I think that's an important lesson I feel like everyone should know, whether you're an adult, young adult, older adult, whatever, it still applies to everyone and can be very helpful. I know for me, I have a lot of stories about forgiveness and boundaries from my childhood to even now as a 30-year-old woman. And I'm still learning, and I've learned the hard way when it comes to just not establishing clear boundaries so that you're actually getting disrespected because you didn't establish clear boundaries. So it's a whole thing, but I'm so excited to talk about this. So grab your tea, coffee, whatever, get cozy. If you're driving to work or whatever you're doing, let's get into it. I did not know the importance of boundaries, or honestly, I didn't even know what boundaries were until I became an adult. Growing up, especially in a heavily Christian-based household, the way that I was taught, it really was kind of taught to me that I don't really have a say-so. I don't really have the room or the voice to have boundaries. I should just let people do whatever they want to me. That's basically kind of like the message that I got from my mother and how she parented me. And I'll explain some different scenarios and what I mean by that. When I was a kid, I got bullied a lot. Now, I didn't get bullied until we moved to Georgia when I was about 5 or 6 years old. But I remember in middle school, I had it real bad. People made fun of me all the time in middle school, from making fun of how skinny I was, calling me slow, saying that I was special ed, like all of the mean things that you could call a kid, I was being called that. People said that I looked like I was malnutrition, like I wasn't eating enough food, like I was poor, all of the things. And there was a lot of mean things that just always happened to me. There are a few instances where I wish that my mom would have taught me how to defend myself, but she didn't, and it really did spill over into different things in my childhood. I'm going to give an example here of what I mean. When I was in about, I think it was like 7th grade, there was a girl that I was actually cool with, a Hispanic girl. She had really long hair. I know you're like, why are you telling us about her hair? It's going to be important for this story. I don't know if I said something to her or did something to her that day. I can't really remember. The details of it is fuzzy. I just remember that she slapped me across my face while we were in class. And it was embarrassing because people were looking at me, laughing at me, all the things. So when the teacher left the room and she was, doing her thing, thinking everything is all cool, I took her hair, because her hair was so long that it went almost to the floor, even though she was sitting down. So I took her hair and I wrapped her hair in my hand like a toilet paper or something. And I just yanked her head back as hard as I could because I was so pissed off that she slapped me. And my mom never really taught me how to fight, all this stuff. Like, she didn't really believe in defending yourself, if I'm being honest. So I did that. I ended up getting in trouble. There was a phone call to my mom about the situation, and the girl just so happened to ride the bus with me and also live in my neighborhood. Y'all, don't you know that my mom literally walked me over to that girl's house? Literally walked me over to that girl's house and made me apologize for yanking her hair. Not acknowledging the fact that the girl literally slapped me in the face and I still had the girl's slap print on my damn cheek. And I remember in the moment, it was so confusing to me because I was just like, why am I apologizing for defending myself? And I just remember she had a conversation with me that day, like after the fact, like when she found out and everything before we went to the girl's house. My mom said to me, you know, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And the Bible says that, you know, you don't fight fire with fire. You treat people with kindness. You treat them the way God would treat them, no matter if they hurt you or not. And I'm looking at this woman because I'm like, I just got slapped in the face. Y'all, I was like 13 or 14 at the time. So that's embarrassing. I mean, not 13 or 14. I'm sorry. I was like 12 or 13, whatever. But it's so embarrassing. And that did a lot to my self-esteem. You know what I mean? So my mom, whenever it came to defending myself or fighting back, it's like, no, you don't fight fire for fire. You know, what they sow is what they'll reap. Like, they'll get it back to them. But you need to be, you know, a kind soul and a respectful soul. And, you know, God will handle it. That was literally what I was taught. There was another instance in 8th grade. There was an Asian girl that I used to stare at her. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know if I was or not. I don't think I was. I would always stare in her direction, but I would zone out. I was the type of kid that would like daydream a lot. I was very shy. So one day she thought I was staring at her, but I wasn't. I was just daydreaming, and I guess it just happened to be in her direction. She got upset that she got up out of her chair and she mushed me in the face so hard in front of all the kids, and they were all laughing at me and making jokes on me, and it was so embarrassing. And she was like, I hate that you like stare at me or whatever, and she storms out. I did nothing. I just sat there. I wanted to cry. Everybody's laughing at me, and it was just like, yeah, my mom told me not to. I can't hit nobody back, you know, because God's going to punish me or whatever. And that is how, honestly, into my adult life, I became a people pleaser, because I didn't grow up, or I just didn't learn core skills to defend myself and to establish clear boundaries with people, to defend myself. Now, I'm not saying violence is the answer, but in these cases, the act of defending yourself might mean violence if someone is being violent towards you. You know what I mean? And I just didn't have that. The thing is, when we don't have boundaries and when we lack boundaries, we also lack self-love, because self-love and boundaries, they all kind of go in together. And yes, in these situations, I forgave both of those girls, and even the other girl that like slapped me across my face. We were friends afterwards, but I knew that she felt like she could do whatever she wanted or say whatever she wanted to me. She didn't respect me because, yeah, my mom made me go apologize to that damn girl. I can't believe that to this day. That pisses me off every time. But those are the things. Those are little things like that that will kind of shape you, especially when you are a small child. It will shape you. And that the hidden message in that is that, yeah, it's okay for people to do those things to you. You don't, yeah, you don't do anything. Don't defend yourself. I know that in the Black family specifically, or Black community, I know many of you guys, we were taught, a lot of people outside of me were taught to defend themselves. But another major thing is when you have trauma with your family. You fall out with your family, or your family member did something that was very disrespectful, violated you, whatever. We are still taught that that's your family, regardless of what they did. Lack of boundaries. You can forgive them, but you don't have to continue to have them around you. You can forgive them, but you don't have to have a relationship with them. If someone has done you wrong, if someone's disrespected you, if someone's violated you, doesn't respect your boundaries, doesn't respect you as a person, you can forgive them, and you should respectfully and kindly let their ass go. Because here's the thing. When you allow people to do things to you and you let them back in your life consistently and constantly, they're not gaining respect from you. They do not respect you, and they won't until you establish clear boundaries about what you will and will not accept, what you don't like, etc. I think forgiveness, even the root of boundaries and all of that stuff, starts with self-love, and even self-forgiveness. Because if we are able to forgive ourselves, we can forgive others. But also, if we can forgive ourselves, we learn to love ourselves. Therefore, we can give clear boundaries when it comes to other people. So what I like to do in situations like this, when it comes to boundaries, forgiveness, all of the things, I have a child, as you guys know. And I like to reverse things, as if someone is hurting or doing these things to my child. What would the reaction be? So take a scenario where someone's done you wrong, and then reverse it. If you do have a child or don't, hypothetically, you have a child, take that same situation, how would you react? And if it's any different than how you would react in your current situation, then that's how you should react if it were your child. Does that make sense? So if someone came up, for example, I'm going to use my example. If someone came up to my child and slapped them across their face, I'm going to tell my child to slap their ass back. Give them a beat down. In my situation, I should have also given that person a nice slap across that damn face. You know what I mean? That's just an example, but that's what I mean. I want to walk this back, though, because I did mention family, and I kind of want to circle back around to that, because that's also an important thing that I want to discuss today, and friends. But you might have to let go of family and friends that you've known forever when you need to. If they're not respecting you, if they're not respecting your boundaries, if they continue to do things that are questionable, let them go. You need to protect your peace. And how long they've been in your life doesn't matter if they feel comfortable with crossing your boundaries and not respecting you. It doesn't even matter at that point. Let me just tell you guys something. And I have an example for this as well. In 2019, there was a situation with my family that I'm not really going to get into on the podcast, but I'm just going to leak just one thing here. I had a great aunt that this pertained to, my grandmother's sister, and we had a falling out about something, just family situation. And she called me a stupid bitch. Yeah, my great aunt called me a stupid bitch and hung up on me, by the way. Hung up on me right after, even though she was the one in the wrong. I haven't talked to her since that day. Y'all hear me? I haven't talked to her since 2019. It's 2025. I forgive her. Absolutely. I forgive her. Honestly, I pray for her. I pray for her health. I pray she lives a long life, all the things. But I will never talk to her again. I don't ever have a need to ever have her a part of my life. I don't feel the need to call her. Nothing. I don't care that she's old. So what that she's old? She felt really comfortable with disrespecting me and calling me out of my name. And so for that, I will let you go. You will never hear from me again. And that is what it's been for her. She's been blocked on everything, and that's it. And I'm going to keep it pushing because I'm not allowing people to do that to me or call me out of my name. If I don't even feel comfortable calling other people out their name or nothing. And if I can't have a healthy adult disagreement with you without you wanting to curse at me or call me out my name, it's not going to work. That goes for friends and for family. And that is why, for me, I always tell people, like when I meet them and I joke around, I don't have an issue with letting people go and getting them out of my life. I will pack you up like the trash and get you out of here. Because I don't deal with disrespect very well. And it could be that I'm a Scorpio. Who knows? I don't like that. And so that same energy, Y'all have to give that same energy to the people in your life that are disrespecting y'all and not respecting your boundaries at all. Even your partner. If you are dating somebody that feels comfortable with calling you out of your name, that feels comfortable with screaming at you in arguments, that feels comfortable with doing things to you that you've told them countless times that you don't like, it's time to let them go. It's time to let them go. Do not hold on to things. Don't hold on to the thought that someone can change. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, if they don't respect you now, if someone doesn't respect you now, they're never going to respect you. And you can't force anyone to respect you. From that point about how you move, how do you navigate it? Do you continue to let them? Do you set boundaries? It could be as simple as, you know what, I'm breaking up with you. I forgive you, but this romantic situation is not working for me. Clear boundary. Forgiving doesn't mean animosity. Forgiving and letting go doesn't mean animosity. You can forgive someone and be at peace, let them go and never talk to them again and still be at peace and not having any animosity towards them ever. It's possible. It's a thing. And if you are so afraid, if you're like, oh, that's my uncle, or that's my this, or that's my that, think about yourself for a second. How is this interaction, how is this relationship making you feel? When you have these interactions with this person that's not respecting you, how does it make you feel? Do you feel sad, happy, angry? Do you feel annoyed? Being able to forgive and let people go is an act of self-love, I'm telling you. It's an act of self-love, even when you don't feel like it is, because you are protecting you. You are protecting your peace. And that is what is important. It's you. Not anyone else's feelings, not how they're going to feel, not what they're going to think. Putting you first. If you're in a situation where someone is comfortable, even as an adult, with beating on you, as women, you're in a situation, you're in a partnership, man or woman, doesn't really matter, and your partner feels comfortable with beating on you after you told them countless times that you don't like that to stop or whatever, they don't respect you, it's time to go. It's the same. You can also, in the moments of realizing that you need to let someone go, having empathy, having compassion for them, and still letting them go. My answer to people being disrespectful and how I navigate that usually is through voicing how I feel and seeing how they take it. Do they make changes? Do I see them, considering me? If I tell them this and they continue to move the way they were moving before, then yes, I am going to let them go because it's clear that they don't respect me and I'm not going to force them to. I hope this episode was helpful because I know how hard it is sometimes to establish clear boundaries with people, how hard it is to also forgive people but let them go. I'm not saying that you have to forgive and let go because you can forgive and keep them in your life, but just think about at what cost. Is it going to cost you your peace to leave them in your life? Because if it is, you have to let them go. If you're able to forgive them and keep them in your life and you're still okay and you're moving on your life, then cool. But if the answer to that is I can forgive them, I can let it go, I don't feel good when they're around me, then you have to let them go. I think that's when self-awareness and, like I said before, self-love come into play here. Because only you can determine if you should forgive and keep them in your life or forgive and let them out of your life. No one else can tell you how to maneuver that but you, because you're the only one in your body that can actually feel the emotions tied to this person. If you struggle with establishing clear boundaries with the people in your life that you love, I want you to ask yourself some questions that might help you with understanding why. Why do you struggle with it? If you struggle to establish boundaries with the people in your life, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Feel free to write this in a journal so that you can just reflect and really get to the root of the problem here. Do you feel guilty when you say no? If so, why? In what situations do you often feel drained, resentful, or taken advantage of? What would you tell your best friend or child if they were struggling to set boundaries? How does respecting your own boundaries set the standard for how others should treat you? I want you guys to really ask yourself those questions if you struggle with establishing clear boundaries, because you're worth it, you're important, your feelings matter, your being matters, what you want matters, what you need matters. All of it matters. You deserve respect, you deserve love, you deserve kindness. That's it. So just remember, if you don't establish clear boundaries, people will continue to treat you like crap. As I wrap up this episode for today, I also want to let you guys know that I've also struggled with establishing clear boundaries with my mom, family members, friends, just a lot of people, and I've had to learn things the hard way. I would end up in situations where I was feeling so frustrated, so mad, and it's all my doing because I never established clear boundaries. If you know someone that struggles with clear boundaries, send them this episode. And if you struggle with establishing clear boundaries, be sure to answer those questions that I asked and put them in your journal. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope that it just gave you some encouragement to love on yourself and to establish more boundaries and to be kind to yourself, and just let you know that boundaries and forgiveness, they can happen together, and that establishing boundaries is an act of self-love. Remember that. I hope you guys have a great week and be true to yourself. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.